Welcome back to my channel. Read with me. Today I have come with another short story written by Sudha Murty, which is in the collection 3000 Stiches named A Life Unwritten. Let's start. It was the year 1943. My father was a young medical doctor posted in a small dispensary in a village known as Chandagat, located on the border of the two states of Maharashtra and Karnataka. It rained continuously for 8 months there, and the only activity during the remaining 4 months was tree cutting. It was a lesser known and thinly populated village surrounded by a thick and enormous forest. Since British officers came to hunt in the jungle, a small clinic was set up there for their convenience. None of the villagers went there because, they preferred using the local medicines and plants. So there was nobody in the clinic except my father. Within a week of his transfer there, my father started being bored. He was uprooted from the lively city of Pune to this slow and silent village where there seemed to be no people at all. He had no contact with the outside world. His only companion was the calendar on the wall. Sometimes he would go for a walk outside, but when he heard the roar of the tigers in the jungle nearby, he would get scared and would back to the clinic as fast as he could. It was no wonder then that he was too afraid to step out at night because of the snakes that were often seen slithering on the ground. One winter morning, he heard heavy breathing outside his main door and bravely decided to peep through the window. He saw a tigress stretching and yawning in the veranda with her cubs by her side. Paralyzed with fear, my father didn't open the door the entire day. On another day, he opened the window only to find snakes hanging from the roof in front of his house, almost like ropes. My father wondered if he was transferred to the village as a form of punishment or something he may have done. But there was nothing that he could do to change the situation. One night he finished an early dinner and began reading a book in the light of a kerosene lamp. It was raining heavily outside. Suddenly he heard a knock on the door. Who could it be? He wondered. When he opened it, he saw 4 men wrapped in woolen rugs with sticks in their hands. They said to him in Marathi, "Dr. Sahib, take your bag and come with us immediately." My father barely understood their rustic Marathi. He protested, "But the clinic is closed and look at the time." The men were in no mood to listen. They pushed him and loudly demanded that he accompany them. Quietly, my father picked up his bag and followed them like a lamb to the bullock cart waiting for them. The pouring rain and the moonless night disoriented him, and while he didn't know where they were taking him, he sensed that the drive might take some time. Using all the courage he had left, he asked, Where are you taking me?" There was no reply. It was a few hours before they reached their destination, and the bullock cart came to a complete halt. In the light of a kerosene lamp, somebody escorted them. My father noticed the paddy fields around him, and in the middle of it all, he saw a house. The minute he set foot in the house, a female voice said, "Come, come, the patient is here in this room." For the first time since he had come to the village, my father felt that he could finally put his medical expertise to good use. The patient was a young girl, approximately 16 years old. An old lady was standing near the girl, who was obviously in labor. My father turned pale. He went back to the other room and told her family, "Look, I haven't been trained in delivering a baby, and I am a male doctor. You must call someone else." But the family refused to listen. "That's not an opinion. That's not an option. You must do what needs to be done, and we will pay you handsomely," they insisted. "The baby may be delivered alive or dead, but the girl must be saved." My father pleaded with them, "Please, I am not interested in the money. Let me go now." The man came close, shoved him inside the patient's room, and locked the door from outside. My father became afraid. He knew he had no choice. He had observed and assisted in a few deliveries under the guidance of his medical college professors, but nothing more. Nervously, he started recalling his limited past experience and theoretical knowledge as his medical instincts kicked in. There was no table in the room, so he signaled the old lady, who appeared to be deaf and dumb, to help him set up a makeshift table, which like with the shacks of paddy grains around them. Then my father extracted a rubber sheet from his bag and laid it out neatly on top of the sacks. He asked the girl to lie down on it and instructed the old lady to boil water and sterilize his instruments. Now, by then, the contraction had passed. The girl was sweating profusely, and the doctor even more. She looked at him with big, innocent, teary eyes and slowly began, "Don't save me. I don't want to make it through the night." "Who are you?" "I am the daughter of a big zamindar here," she said in a soft voice. The rain outside made it hard for him to hear her. "Since there was no high school in our village, my parents let me study in a distant town. There I fell in love with one of my classmates. At first I didn't know that I was pregnant, but once I found out, I told the baby's father, who immediately ran away. By the time my parents learned of what had happened, it was too late to do anything. That's why they sent me here to this god-forsaken place where nobody would find out." She stopped as a strong contraction hit her. After a few minutes, he said, "Doctor, I'm sure that once the baby is born, my family will kill the child and beat me violently." Then she grabbed my father's arms as more tears gathered in her eyes. "Please don't try to save the baby or me. Just leave me alone here and let me die. That's all I want." At first, my father didn't know how to respond. Then he said to her as gently as he could, "I am a doctor and I can't let a patient die when I know that I can do something to save him or her. You must not discourage me from doing my duty." The girl fell silent. The labor was hard, scary, and long, and finally, my father managed to deliver the baby successfully with the assistance of the old lady. The young girl was exhausted and sweaty at the end of the ordeal. She closed her eyes in despair and didn't even ask to see the baby. Hesitantly, she asked, "Is it a boy or a girl?" "It's a girl," replied my father, while trying to check the baby's vitals. "Oh my God, it's a girl," she cried. "Her life will be just like mine, under the cruel pressure of the men in the family. And she doesn't even have a father." She began sobbing loudly. But my father was busy with the baby and, barely heard her. Suddenly, the girl realized that something was wrong. "Doctor, why isn't the baby crying?" When she didn't get a reply, she continued, "I will be happy if she doesn't survive. She will be spared from a cursed life." My father held the baby upside down, gently slapped her, and instantly the baby's strong cries filled the room. When the men outside heard the baby cry, they opened the door and instructed him, "Doctor, get ready to leave. We will drop you back." My father cleaned up his patient, gathered his instruments, and packed his bag. The old lady began cleaning the room. He looked at the troubled young girl and said, "Take the baby and run away from this place if you can find it in your heart to do so. Go to Pune and look for Pune Nursing School. Find a clerk there called Gokhale and tell him that RH has sent you. He will help you get admission in a nursing course. In time, you will become a nurse and lead an independent life with the ability to take care of your own needs. Raise your daughter with pride. Don't you dare leave her behind, or else she will end up suffering like you. That's my most sincere advice for you." "But doctor, how will I go to Pune? I don't even know where it is." "Go to the nearest city of, Belgaum, and then from there you can take a bus to Pune." My father said goodbye to her and came out of the room. An old man handed him 100 rupees. "Doctor, these are your fees for helping the girl with the delivery. I want you don't say a word about what happened here today. If you do, I will learn of it and your head will no longer be attached to the rest of your body. My father nodded, suddenly overtaken by a sense of calm. I'm sorry, he said. I think I forgot my scissors in the room. I will need it tomorrow at the clinic. He turned around and went back inside and saw the young girl gazing at the sleeping newborn with tears in her eyes. When the old lady's back was turned towards him, my father handed over the money to the girl. This is all I have with me right now, he said. Use it and do what I have told you. Doctor, what is your name? She asked. My name is Dr. R.H. Kulkarni. But almost everyone calls me R.H. Be brave, child. Goodbye and good luck. My father left the room and the house. The return journey was equally rough and he finally reached home at dawn. He was dead tired and soon sleep took over. The next morning his mind wandered back to his first patient in the village and his first earning. He became aware of his shortcomings and wished he was better qualified in gynecology. Now, however, his current shortage of funds made him postpone the dream for another day. A few months later, he got married and shared his dream of becoming a gynecologist with his wife. Time passed quickly. He was transferred to different places in Maharashtra and Karnataka and had 4 children along the way. By the time he turned 42, the couple had carefully saved enough money for further education, and my father decided to pursue his desire. So he left his family in Hubli and joined Egmore Medical College in Chennai and fulfilled his dream of becoming a gynecologist surgeon. He was one of the few rare male gynecologists at the time. He went back to Hubli and started working in Karnataka Medical College as a professor. His sympathetic manner towards the underprivileged and his genuine concern for the women and girls he treated made him quite popular, both as a doctor and as a teacher. The same concern reflected in his liberal attitude towards his daughters, and he allowed them to pursue their chosen fields of education, which was unheard of in those days. My father was an atheist. God doesn't reside in a church, mosque, or temple, he would often say. I see him in all my patients. If a woman dies during childbirth, then it is the loss of one patient for a doctor, but for the child, it is the lifelong loss of a mother. And tell me, who can replace a mother? Despite his retirement, my father's love for learning did not diminish, and he remained active. One day he went for a medical conference to another city. There he met a young woman in her 30s. She was presenting cases from her experience in the rural areas. My father found her work interesting and went to tell her so after the presentation. Doctor, your research is excellent. I am quite impressed by your work, he said. Thank you, she said. Just then someone called out to my father, RH, we are waiting for you to grab some lunch. Will you take long? The young woman asked, what is your name, doctor? Dr. RH Kulkarni or RH. After a moment of silence, she asked, were you in Chandagarh in 1943? Yes. Doctor, I live in a village around 40 kilometers away from there. May I request you to come home right now for a brief visit? My father was unprepared for such an invitation. Why was she calling him to her house? Maybe some other time, doctor, he replied. Maybe some other time, doctor, he replied, hoping to end the matter. But the woman was persistent. You must come, please. Think of this as a request from someone who has been waiting for you for years now. My father was puzzled by her enigmatic answer and still refused, but she pleaded with him. There was something in her eyes, something so desperate that in the end he gave in and accompanied her to the village. On the way to the village, both of them exchanged ideas, and she spoke animatedly about her work and her findings. As the two of them approached her residence, my father realized that the house was also a nursing home. He walked in through the front door and saw a lady in her 50s standing in the living room. The young woman next to him said, Ma, this is Dr. R.H. Is he the one you have been waiting for all these years? The woman came forward, bent down, and touched her forehead to my father's feet. He felt his feet getting wet from her tears. It was strange. It was strange. Who were these women? My father didn't know what to do. He quickly bent forward, placed his hands on the older woman's shoulders, and pulled her up. Doctor, you may not remember me, but I can never forget you. Mine must have been your first delivery. Still, my father couldn't recognize her. A long time ago, you lived in a village on the border of Maharashtra and Karnataka. One night there was a heavy downpour, and you helped me, a young unmarried girl then, through childbirth. There was no delivery table in the room, so you converted stacks of paddy sacks into a makeshift table. Many hours later, I gave birth to a daughter. In a flash, the memories came flooding back, and my father recollected that night. Of course, I remember you, he said. It was the middle of the night, and I asked you to go to Pune with your newborn. I think I was as scared as you. You gave me 100 rupees, which is what my family paid you for the delivery. It was a big amount in those days, and still you handed it all over to me. Yes, my monthly salary was 75 rupees then, added my father with a smile. You told me your last name, but I couldn't hear it because of the deafening sound of the rain. I took your advice, went to Pune, found your friend Gokhale, and became a nurse. It was very, very hard, but I was able to raise my daughter on my own. After such a terrible experience, I wanted my daughter to become a gynecologist. Luckily, she shared my dream too. Today, she is a doctor and is also married to one on they practice here. At one point, I spent months searching for you, but with no luck. Then we heard that you had moved to Karnataka after the recognition of the state departments in 1956. Meanwhile, Gokhale also passed away, and I lost all hope of ever finding you. I prayed to God to give me a chance to meet you, and thank you for showing me the right path at the right time. My father felt like he was in a Bollywood movie and was like enchanted by the unexplainable mystery of life. A few kind words and encouragement had changed a young girl's life. She clasped her hands together. We are so grateful to you, doctor. My daughter wanted to call you for the inauguration of the nursing home here, and we were very disappointed at not being able to reach you then. Time has passed, and now the nursing home is doing very well. My father wiped his moist eyes and looked around to see the name of the nursing home. He looked to right and found himself staring at it. RH Diagnostic. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for being patient and listen to this whole short story. It is amazing short story. I think you also have experienced, or you also have, recognize it or felt it. Sorry. And thank you for being patient. Do like, share, and comment below. Let me know in the comment section, do you like it or not, and also suggest me any book that you want me to read out for you. And stay tuned. I will definitely gonna post lots of books and lots of short stories. And another thing that I want to remember, everyone, want to make you remember that I always try to keep these audios very fluent, very spontaneous, so that I can make you feel that I am all with you. I am a person with you sitting and now reading out a story to you. That is why the channel name is Read With Me. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's it. Be happy. Thank you.